Level 1, Tiro. Your first day in the Legion isn't what you imagined. You pictured glory, marching columns, and gleaming armor. Instead, someone hands you a wooden sword. That's your gladius for now. Now you're drilling the same 4 moves for hours. Thrust, step, block, again. Then they hand you a pack heavier than you are. Tent poles, rations, tools, a cooking pot. The other recruits call it the mule's load. You understand why within the first mile. By afternoon, your shoulders are raw. Your feet are worse. Nobody tells you it gets easier. Because it doesn't. Not yet. Then comes the marching. 20 miles before sundown in full kit. At the end of it, you don't rest. Instead, you dig. Every night, the Legion builds an entire fortified camp from nothing. Trench, rampart, stakes, gate. Then in the morning, you tear it all down and march again. One veteran laughs at your blisters. Rome wasn't built by men who quit. You sleep 8 to a tent. Strangers a week ago. Now the only people keeping you alive. Your Centurion carries a vine staff. He uses it often, mostly on you. Eventually, your footwork stops being clumsy. Your shield stops feeling like dead weight. One afternoon, you block a strike without thinking. The veteran training you actually nods. Just once. There's a ceremony before your first real march. Every recruit swears the sacramentum, the military oath, together. Your voice cracks. Nobody laughs, because every voice cracked once. Rations arrive that night. Hard bread, sour wine, salted meat. One veteran calls the wine Pascha. You call it barely drinkable. You drink it anyway. The cold nights are worse than the marching. 8 men share one tent, one fire, and every complaint about the Centurion. It's the first time you felt like part of something instead of just surviving it. Then training intensifies. Wooden swords double in weight. Shields feel like they're made of stone by the end of each day. One recruit quits before winter. Nobody blames him. You think about it too. Then you don't. Soon you're trusted with real formation drills. Shield lock to shield. Shoulder to shoulder. The Centurion calls it the tortoise. You call it terrifying until you're inside it. Then, for the first time, someone uses your name instead of recruit. It isn't much, but it's a start. Level 2, Legendary. This morning, nobody hands you a wooden sword. Someone hands you a real gladius, iron, sharpened. Heavier than the practice one. For the first time, it feels like it belongs to you. Now every soldier around you carries the same look. Steady, focused, ready. Your unit marches beyond the frontier for the first time. The forests look different out here. Quieter, colder, watching. Then the scouts report movement in the tree line. Your sentry forms up without being told twice. Shields raised, javelins ready. You grip your pilum and wait. Waiting is worse than fighting. Then the order comes. Loose. A wall of javelins arcs into the tree line. Then the enemy breaks from cover, screaming. Your training takes over before your fear can. Shield up, blade low, step forward, not back. It's over in minutes. Your hands don't stop shaking until an hour later. Nobody mentions it. Everyone remembers their first time. Letters arrive from home less often than you'd like. You write back anyway, describing nothing that would worry them. The forests, the marches, never the fighting. Some nights homesickness hurts worse than the marching does. Then morning comes and there's no time to feel it. One contubernalis, a soldier from your tent, takes an arrow meant for you. He survives. Barely. You carry his gear for 2 weeks so he doesn't fall behind. Nobody orders you to. Nobody has to. That's when you understand what the older soldiers meant about trust. It isn't something you're issued with your gladius. It's something you earn one march at a time. Back at camp, an older legionary tosses you a strip of dried meat. You didn't run. That's the whole test. Soon, marches become routine, but never comfortable. Rivers, mud, mountain passes, rain that never seems to stop. Every night, the same trench, the same rampart, the same exhaustion. Then, one evening, your sentry holds a line against a much larger raiding party. You don't break. The men beside you don't break. Afterward, your OPTIO studies you for a long moment. He doesn't say much, but he remembers your name now too. Level 3, Signifer. Something changes after that. You stop counting marches. Now you're counting battles survived. One morning, your Centurion calls you forward in front of the whole century. He hands you a wolf pelt and a bronze standard. You carry the honor of this century now. The other soldiers go quiet. Being Signifer means you march at the front. No shield hand free for defense. Just the standard, held high, no matter what happens. Losing it means disgracing every man behind you. Keeping it raised means they always know where to rally. Soon you learn the weight isn't in the bronze, it's in what it means. Every battle, you're the first target and the last man expected to fall back. Enemies aim for the standard, not the soldier holding it. You learn to read a battle by feel, not sight. When to hold the line steady, when to press forward, when to plant the standard and refuse to move. Once, an enemy skirmisher nearly rips the standard from your grip. You don't let go, not because you're brave, because losing it isn't a choice you're allowed to make. The soldier beside you cuts the skirmisher down before he tries again. Neither of you mentions it afterward. You don't need to. Other centuries start recognizing your standard from a distance. They use it to find their position in the chaos of battle. Your bronze standard becomes a landmark other men's lives depend on. That's a strange kind of pressure to carry into every fight. You carry it anyway. Then, during a chaotic ambush in the hills, your century starts to scatter. Panic spreads faster than any enemy blade. Instead of falling back, you plant the standard in the ground and hold. One by one, soldiers rally back around it. The line reforms around a single point, around you. Afterward, your Centurion doesn't say much. He doesn't have to. Your pay increases, your duties change. But the real reward is quieter. For the first time, veterans ask your opinion before a march, not after. Level 4, OPTIO. Your Centurion calls you into his tent. No standard on the table this time, just a wooden staff and a look that says everything. You're my OPTIO now. Now you stand behind the century, not beside it. Watching every gap in the line, every soldier who hesitates, every soldier who needs pushing forward. The staff isn't just a symbol. You use it to close gaps in the formation mid-battle, to steady men who freeze, to keep the line unbroken when it matters most. New recruits arrive by the dozen. This time, you're the one shaping them. How to march, how to dig, how to hold formation under pressure. One terrified Tiro asks where the tents go. You point without a word. That used to be you. Discipline becomes your job now, not just your habit. You catch soldiers cutting corners on the nightly trench. You make them dig it twice. Nobody thanks you for it. Weeks later, that same trench holds during a night raid. Then they thank you. You start noticing things Centurions don't have time to notice. Which soldier hasn't eaten? Which one hasn't slept? Which one is about to break? You quietly fix what you can before it becomes a problem for the whole line. That's the part of the job nobody warned you about. Command isn't just giving orders. It's carrying the weight of everyone who follows them. Soon, the Centurion trusts you to run drills without supervision. At first, your voice doesn't carry over the noise. Then it does. You read soldiers now the way scouts read terrain. Who needs discipline? Who needs encouragement? Who's about to break? Then, during a river crossing under enemy fire, the Centurion goes down. For one long second, the whole century looks for someone to follow. They look at you. You don't hesitate. Shields up, hold formation, move as one. The century crosses the river intact. Afterward, the wounded Centurion looks up at you from the stretcher. You just did my job better than I do it. That night, the men raise their cups. Not to him. To you. Level 5, Centurion. It finally happens. The legate himself calls you forward before the assembled cohort. He hands you the transverse crest of a Centurion. Your century to command. For a moment, nobody speaks. Then 80 men snap to attention, waiting on your first order. Now every decision belongs to you. Where the line holds, where it advances, when it breaks contact. Every soldier's life in that century rests on your judgment. You learn quickly that Centurions don't lead from behind. You're always first through the gate, first over the wall, first into the breach. It's the most dangerous rank in the entire Legion, and everyone knows it. You wear it anyway. Your century becomes known for holding ground nobody else can. Commanders start requesting you by name for the hardest positions. The center of the line, the flank about to collapse, the gate about to fall. Every battle adds a scar. Every campaign adds a decoration. A torque here, an armband there, a medal pinned by the legate himself. Soon, other Centurions consult you before major engagements, not because you outrank them, because you've survived what they haven't. One winter, hunger and cold nearly break your century's spirit. You share your own rations before your own hunger. Soldiers remember small gestures. When spring campaigns start, that century fights like no other in the Legion. Not because of orders, because of loyalty. A rival century Centurion mocks you for it once in front of both units. Your century volunteers for the next impossible assignment before you even ask. His doesn't. He never mocks you again. Then, during a brutal siege, your century breaches a wall no one thought could fall. You're first through the gap, blade first, men close behind. By nightfall, the position is Rome's. The legate mentions your name in his dispatch to the Senate. For the first time, people beyond the Legion have heard of you. Level 6, Primus Pilus. Years pass. Your scars outnumber your memories of a time without them. Your name moves through the Legion faster than any order. One morning, the legate summons every Centurion in the Legion. Only one reason calls a meeting like this. He stands before all of them and looks directly at you. First cohort, first century, Primus Pilus, yours. It is the highest a soldier can rise through nothing but merit. Senior Centurions who have served 20 years step aside for you. Your voice now shapes decisions for the entire Legion, not just one century. Generals ask your read on the terrain before committing the army. You train the officers who will one day replace you, not to follow your exact path, just to survive long enough to find their own. Some do, some don't. You remember every name either way. An emperor's representative visits the Legion and asks to meet you personally. You've marched past senators without a second glance. This time, your hands aren't quite steady. Then the moment passes and you're just a soldier again, which is really all you ever wanted to be. New Tiros are told your story on their very first night in camp. Some of it is exaggerated. You broke a shield wall with your bare hands. You held a bridge alone against 100 men. You refused a triumph because the men deserved it more than you did. Most of it isn't true. You don't correct them. Some legends serve better than the truth. Eventually, your term of service ends. 25 years since a wooden sword and a heavier pack than you could carry. The Legion grants you land, a pension, and a rank few soldiers ever see. You stand at the edge of your new fields and look back toward the frontier. Somewhere out there, a new recruit is learning to hate a heavy pack. Just like you once did. Decades pass, new wars, new emperors, new legions. But in every camp on the first night, veterans still tell the same story. Of a recruit who couldn't march 20 miles without stumbling. Who became the first man through the wall. Who rose higher than almost anyone in the history of the Legion. They rarely remember your real name, but they never forget the rank, Primus Pilus. And somewhere, a frightened new Tiro hears the story for the first time and dreams of becoming the next legend. If you made it all the way to the end, you're officially at the final level. Subscribe for the next journey, leave your ideas in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.